Hi there.
Hey, good morning.
This is The Porch. I'm Linda Hollington.
And I'm Sylvia Four.
And I'm Sherry Darmanine. Welcome to the Porch 321.
We're going to talk a little bit this morning about navigating. We have a plane flying overhead. I don't know how well you can hear that. I'll have to talk a little how. But the market that you're in, you're either in a buyer or a seller market or somewhere in between. And you need to prepare, and there's power in that preparation that you do before just saying, oh, I'm going to go out and buy a house somewhere. There's a lot of power in that. And our primary goal is to empower you, the buyers and the sellers, with information that helps you with this goal that you have of whether it's buying or whether it's selling. And if you're selling, you still might end up a buyer, somewhere. This is more than just industry jargon. I know we use special words all the time. It's a core dynamic that dictates the price, the pace, the power in every transaction that we do. Knowing the difference and understanding it really is going to make a big difference in your experience. And so is your choice of realtor. So keep that in mind.
So let's just define exactly what makes it a buyer or seller's market, and just bringing it down to one word is inventory. Okay, that is what determines if you're in a buyer or seller's market. Now, of course, a seller's market exists when there are very few homes on the market, and that's why you get bidding wars, and that's why you don't get into the craziness. And that is buyers are looking and there's no demand. There's no supply, So the demand is high and there's no supply. So that is a seller's market. A buyer's market is just the opposite. There's plenty of homes on the market for sale. So there's lots to pick and choose from. And that is an advantage, certainly, for our buyers, and that's why it's called a buyer's market. You can tell which one you're in by observing what's going on. If houses are moving like hotcakes, then you are in a seller's market. If things seem to languish on for sale, it takes 4 to 6 months, and that is actually kind of normal.
Right.
Then that is a buyer's market.
Well, and there's strategy for that. The specific strategy for a seller's market is price, and price. You have to price your home appropriately to market conditions. A lot of the sellers want to price their home based on what their neighbors sold for 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It doesn't work that way. You have to look at what the market conditions are today, okay? And then your home is priced based on that. So price is very important. It's also very important for you to stand out. As a seller's market, you're competing now because you're competing with other homes, so you want to stand out with the other homes, okay? You also want to be prepared for any type of bidding wars, If it's a true seller's market, you'll see bidding wars happen where, you've got multiple buyers on one property, You need to be prepared for that, which means you need to be prepared to move. So if you get an offer that's just what you need or just what you wanted, and it's not just price, it is terms and conditions too. You have to watch the terms and conditions in which the buyer wishes to proceed with the transaction. And if everything is okay, you've got to be ready to move. Houses can close in anywhere between 30 and 45 days, so that's not a lot of time. So you need to pack up and be ready to go.
Yep.
So let's make sure that you are not only setting a strategic price, okay, but you're also prepared to move on that, and your property is ready to go, all right? And then you have to say to yourself, well, you know what, I'm competing with my neighbor or the 12 houses that are for sale in my area, so therefore I have to, make sure that my house looks pristine so that when the buyer comes, maybe I'll get 4 or 5 offers, So that's a seller's market, and that's what we were accustomed to a few years ago. I think it was.
But that's gone.
But that's gone. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of people still remember that, and they have to be reeled into what's reality of today.
They think it's the same market. You start to watch this needle move.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets in the middle where you tell, is it a buyer's, is it a seller's?
Buyer or seller market.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it starts to move. You start to see, instead of one house in the neighborhood, you start to see 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 in the neighborhood.
Now
You
it's a
know-
buyer's market.
Yeah. Now you know you're in a buyer's market, but that's a good thing for buyers, and it's challenging for the sellers now.
Mhm.
It's switched
Yes.
places here, and sales begin to slow down. The buyer gets to have a lot of time to look around and to be very picky
Yeah.
about what they do.
Right.
So for sellers, you need to master the standout factor.
That's very important. And I
Yeah.
always tell all of my clients, I say, look, if you don't like it from the outside, what's going to entice them to look at it on the inside?
And it also means competitive pricing, offering concessions of some sort, and your realtor can help you with that, and being really flexible in the timeline. If the buyer's facing many options, give them every reason to choose yours.
Yep.
That's right.
Be patient and flexible, and be open to price adjustments too. We don't like to hear that, but that's in the
The
buyer's
reality
market.
of the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
If you truly want to sell,
And for buyers, take your time, enjoy the process, spend more time. You have more time to shop, look at homes, and you can be diligent and very thorough and robust in inspections and appraisals at this point. You can negotiate better terms if you're in a strong position
Right.
for this,
Yeah.
because there's so much competition.
but be ready, right?
Be ready.
Be ready when that deal comes up.
Ask for repairs, for concessions. Contingencies can play a big part of it, and have selling cover costs, closing costs, things like that.
Lots of options that
So
can be.
it just swings in
And-
for the buyer.
And some of the sellers are more willing in a seller's market, would be more willing to offer a concession towards closing costs or, rate buy downs, things like that, as opposed to just dropping the price.
Yeah, because it's very competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So dropping the price isn't always the answer.
Right.
It's more about making it convenient or easier for the buyer to move on your property.
Rate buy downs, that's another video.
That's a very,
But in conclusion, the real estate market is constantly shifting.
Yeah.
It's moving this way and that way, and interest rates come into play to make it go one way or the other. The job rate, especially the local job rate, and of course seasonal. I mean, we have a big seasonal
well,
shift
we're in
here
Florida,
in Florida.
so yeah.
So trying to time the market perfectly that's a real tightrope, and it's a pretty dangerous game to play. You can try it. Some people do it, but basically you're going to have to find out what the market is really doing. And usually people, they're going to put their house on the market when they have to put their house on the market. Usually this entails life changes. So.
The best indicator of that is how many homes are for sale.
So, and this is where your realtor comes in.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to contact someone. As I was telling the ladies before, I like to in advance. You tell me you're looking to sell maybe in a year or two. Well, I'll put you on a little drip and tells you what houses are selling and how long they're on the market, and you can get an idea of the market well in advance of the time you're actually going to have to sell.
Right, exactly.
So, contact your realtor, one of us
Real-
or whoever you know.
Yeah, you can always contact one of us. We have no problem with that.
That's right.
And you can always send us a comment on our YouTube channel. But again, in conclusion, I'm going to tell you, please like and subscribe. You see that button? Just press that button and like and subscribe us. We'll be more than happy to continue on with our YouTubes, and we're trying to get as much information out there as possible to you.
Yeah, and please send us your questions
Yeah,
that we can speak to,
Yeah.
and help others who have the same question but they don't ask it.
right. You can do it in writing, so you don't have to talk to anybody.
It does our heart good.
So thank you so much for joining us on the Porch 321. We hope you continue to do so, and please like and subscribe. Signing off for today, this is Sherry, Sylvia, and Linda with the Porch 321. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.